Welcome to your CCPS Science Review Lab. So I was thinking, I wanted to figure out the perfect amount of cheese to put on a 12-inch pizza crust. How would I figure that out? What should my plan be? Well, I'm a scientist, so my first priority is obviously going to be using the scientific method. Am I going to adjust the amount of sauce? No, that wouldn't make sense. What if I put a different topping on? Well, it might make it better or worse, but again, it's not going to deal with my question, which is what's the perfect amount of cheese? What I would have to measure is the amount of cheese that I'm going to use on my pizza. So, if I'm going to figure out the perfect amount of cheese on a pizza, that means I've got to come up with an experiment or a means of testing different amounts of cheese. Now, because I'm testing different amounts of cheese, that means my cheese, or the amount of cheese, would be my test variable, also known as my independent variable. So here we are, back to the scientific method, and we're talking about variables. In this case, we started off talking about our test variable, also known as the independent variable. Now, let's see how we can measure this out and figure out a plan. I think we would need different 12-inch pizza pie crusts. Agreed? We'd have to test maybe 8 of them. And on the first one, we would set up a given amount and we would rate that. Do we think it's good? Do we think it's bad? Maybe on a scale of 1 to 8. Then on the next pizza, we'd put a different amount of cheese and we would rate that. On the third pizza, we'd put a different amount of cheese yet again. So our amount of cheese is what we are deciding to test. Well, that makes it our test variable or our independent variable. Our rating scale, how we rate it, either it's the first or the second or the third best, that's our data, our dependent variable. Okay, our dependent variable is also known as our outcome variable. So our test variable is this amount of cheese, independent variable, and our outcome variable is this rating scale that we had. So let's look at it again. Independent or test variable is the amount of cheese. The dependent variable or the outcome variable is our rating scale. So what about our control? What's a control? Well, remember when we talked about that first test that we would do, that baseline, we were going to compare all our other results to how that tasted. That's our control. So our control is our baseline. Now's your chance to show what you know. Here's a data table. Maybe you've seen it before. I want you to determine what's the independent variable, what's the dependent variable, and what would you or could you do to set up a control for this experiment. Okay, good luck. Show what you know.